Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Camille here. I want to talk to you about a book that I read in one sitting because I am a super huge safety nerd, and I opened up a textbook and read it from front to back in a day. So here it is. It's Safety by Objectives. What gets measured and rewarded gets done, by our buddy Dan Peterson. So I heard about this book while teaching a CSP class this week in St. Louis, and it was one of the recommendations. I'm also working on a project with a client of mine where we're taking operational as well as safety leaders and trying to figure out how we can get them their KPIs broken down into achievable goals that apply for their site. So they have a safety KPI. What does your specific site need to do to reach that KPI? When I say KPI, I'm talking about key performance indicators. So you're maybe given your KPI is to reduce the injury rate from 5.12 to 2.3 over the next year. What does that mean? What are you actually supposed to do with that information? That's why I bought this book. So this book was originally published in 1978, but then a second edition came out in 1996. And the concepts in here are still 100% completely relevant. This is not a textbook. This is a handbook that you should buy and use. There are worksheets in here. There are activities. It actually ends with case studies and workshop activities for you to do with supervisors. So I will be tailoring some of these to my client and figuring out how a location can take corporate goals and make them into active, smart goals that they can achieve over the next year to achieve that corporate KPI, key performance indicator. There's a little section I want to read you. The attitude of the majority of supervisors today lies somewhere between total acceptance and flat rejection of comprehensive accident prevention programs. Most typical is the organization in which line managers do not shirk this safety responsibility, but do not fully accept it either. And they treat it as they would any of their defined production responsibilities. In most cases, their safety hat is worn far less often than their production hat, their quality hat, their cost control hat, or their methods improvement hat. In most organizations, safety is not considered as important to the line manager as many, if not most, of the other duties that he or she performs. So in this book, you learn about how do you make it as important? How do you make that safety hat as important as their production hat, their cost-cutting hat? And the idea behind it is that what matters to their boss is what matters to them. Stuff we've heard about, stuff we've talked about, but a real handbook with real activities you can do with your leadership team to make objectives that are achievable and that will make a real difference. So that's my plug for Safety by Objectives, Dan Peterson.